My name is Burke Breneman. My title is the Training Director of the Florida Power Sports Safety Council. And that involves all sorts of motorcycle, ATV, dirt bike training, curriculum development, working with students learning how to do new skills. Lots of folks know that I do motorcycle training, and people from all sorts of places call me to do that I wasn't expecting. Probably my favorite program is the NYPUM program. NYPUM stands for the National Youth Program Using Mini Bikes, and it's a motivational and mentoring program designed to help kids that are struggling with their lives kind of sort things out. That's probably my favorite program. Although it's the least motorcycle oriented, it's more about helping kids. When I started working with the NYPUM program and people that were completely unconnected to motorcycles and had no motorcycling skills, but wanted to be able to help the kids that they supervised to change their lives, we had never used motorcycles. I had never used motorcycles to do that before. People were shocked when I started working with that program. They said, Burke, you work with incredibly talented motorcyclists all the time. How could you work with social workers that have never ridden on a motorcycle? And the level of commitment they brought, people that would overcome fear. Most motorcyclists don't have a lot of fear about new things. So seeing people come into a training program that had never been on a motorcycle, were actually afraid to ride one, would sit on the bikes kind of shivering with fear because they didn't know what to expect, but were willing to do that, to go through that experience, to be able to take those same dirt bikes and work with kids. I really had never experienced something like that before. One of the opportunities that's presented itself to me in motorcycle training has been getting a chance to work with our country's soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines. All of those folks, armed services, require all of their soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines to get motorcycle training if they're going to own or ride a motorcycle during their enlistment period. They're required to have that training. So I started doing training at that level. And one of the most interesting things about the military is there's a very large number of soldiers that hurt themselves on their personally owned motorcycles when they come back from deployments. We literally last year finished working on basically a sport bike program. Most programs are designed all about street safety, but for these guys we wanted to give them kind of a transitional program if they'd like to go to racetracks and do things like that. Most motorcycle training happens in a big square parking lot with little activities. This is much different than that. Riding bigger bikes a little bit faster. And we do it for cruiser type motorcycles as well. But that's one of the things we're looking forward to doing, giving guys an outlet for that need to experience some level of risk in their lives when they're home from deployment. When they're deployed, just going to the grocery store is more risk than most of us face, probably in a lifetime. Most of us would describe it as a feeling of freedom. We're not connected to things. Dirt bikes in particular. For an old guy like me, it's kind of like being Superman. I can't run through the woods at 40 miles an hour and jump over 10-foot creek beds, but I can certainly do that on a motorcycle, on a dirt bike, and I've been doing it long enough that it doesn't feel like a separate piece to me. I've been riding long enough that the motorcycle kind of feels like an extension. The fact that you get to go an awful lot of places. There isn't a national park in the country that I haven't been to on a motorcycle. I've gone everywhere, and many of the national parks in the rest of the world as well. So it's afforded me an opportunity to go places. The experience itself is an incredibly liberating experience. When you ride down the road on your street bike, you can smell when people cut the grass, and you can tell when the sewers have overflowed and somebody's cat died. You can smell that as you ride by, so you're much more connected to the environment when you ride a motorcycle. And it gets you all sorts of places, and probably the best part is the people you meet when you do it. Motorcyclists tend to be an awful lot of fun and very open, and they have kind of a shared experience. If you've ever watched a motorcyclist, when you see two ride by each other, more often than not they wave at each other. There's a connection that you have to the motorcycling community when you're a motorcyclist that's kind of hard to describe. So all of those things kind of go together to, I don't know, make it hard for me to stop, I guess.